Hello, stars! My name is Blue, and today we are lost in Homestuck Epilogue Candy, Chapter 3. Let's get into it. Yes, something feels very different. Dirk's hands begin to shake, so violently that he drops his screwdriver into the chassis of the battle bot he's working on. It clings around for a bit, landing somewhere that will doubtlessly be very inconvenient to retrieve. It doesn't matter. There's no more time for rap battles or politics or wacky hijinks of an adventurous nature. There's no time left for anything. Moisture beating at his temples, Dirk staggers away from his workbench and braces himself against the wall. His knees are weak, head spinning, palms so sweaty that the concrete feels smooth under them. He nearly drops his phone while attempting to dramatically auto-dial Jane's number through the haze of his trembling, sudorific stupor. Hey Jane, bad news. Cancel everything. Excuse me, what? All plans. Cancel them. It's over. What's over, Dirk? I just told you. Everything. Because we're canceling it. Dirk, are you quite okay? Yeah, I'm cool. You sound terrible. It's unlike you to call quits on a capper like this without offering any lengthy diatribe on it. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. Lengthy diatribes are over too. They're cancelled. Jane gasped loudly, without a hint at irony. I don't understand. Don't worry about it. Just do what I say. He hangs up on her and brings up his contacts so that he can text Jake and cancel all their televised fights for the foreseeable forever. He then blocks Jake's number, because if it's not worth explaining to Jane, it's definitely not worth explaining to Jake. Then again, nothing is ever really worth explaining to Jake. Jake's number is barely even worth storing in his phone, if Dirk is being perfectly honest. Through the workshop window, Dirk can see the sun touching the horizon. Ah, exquisite. He takes a moment to appreciate the sublime synthesis of the atmosphere and the existential crisis he is currently experiencing. The sun is setting both physically and metaphorically right now. Not bad, he thinks. Then he corrects himself, because while there is always time to delight in the validity of casualty, the whole situation is actually and for real astonishingly bad. Epilogue 2, Chapter 4. Rose's eyes flutter open to the sound of a heart monitor and the sight of futurist white ceiling, fluorescent lights, and diaphanous curtains. Everything crisp and clean. A hospital? Wait, this doesn't seem right, she thinks. When she closed her eyes, she was dramatically lingering about her bedroom at home. She'd just taken a handful of pills and said goodbye to... John! She shoots up in bed, tugging the IV tape under her elbow. Kanaya is sitting at her bedside, hemming a sundress. She thins her lips and gives Rose a half-lidded look. John, I see. Is there something I should know? This is the sort of joke that would have gone over better if it had not been made at this exact moment. With all the distance between them lately, Kanaya's jab lands like a rock plunging into a stagnant pond. Instinctively, Rose raises her hand to her forehead, but there's no pain there. Her head is the clearest it's been in months. Kanaya, what happened? Kanaya throws her sewing project aside and sweeps in close, wrapping a cool palm around Rose's arm. Her voice quakes but retains most of its porcelain decorum. I came home and found you passed out in front of the load caber. Your skin was freezing and you were barely breathing. Oh. The doctor said your heart rate dropped below 30 beats per minute, which, as I understand, is somewhat dire. I see. How are you feeling? Rose considers this for a very long time, eyes fixed on the window at the other end of the room. The night is dying behind the thin, pale curtain. She can barely see the moon. She looks back to Kanaya, eyes wide and bright. Kanaya, I feel fine. It's been such a long time since she's felt anywhere in the same ballpark as fine that it's almost an out-of-body experience, to say the word. She feels giddy. No headaches, no visions, nothing at all. Wait, is John okay? Where is he? Did he leave? Leave? Oh no, John's fine. He didn't go anywhere. Except, I suppose, to leave his house for once. Multiple days in a row, even. Rose shuts her eyes and takes a deep breath. For some reason, she's never felt so relieved in her life. She thinks about what she was about to send John off to, and her feelings of grim urgency surrounding the matter. And yet, for the life of her, she can't bring herself to care about whatever it was she felt was so direly important about his decision. All that matters to her now is that he's safe, in good health, and spending time with those he cares about. And apparently, due to a perfectly inexplicable turn of events, so is she. The door to the room cracks open, and in slips a smiling Carapacian in blue scrubs. Rose listens to Kanaya ask fretful questions about her condition. The nurse responds by tapping her clipboard in a musical rhythm. Rose opens her eyes. She stares at the knob of her wrist and frowns. She's not sure why this sensation should be concerning. It's not like her memory is slipping away. She remembers the conversation she had with John this morning quite clearly, as she does the previous years of declining health and troubled, obsessive thoughts about canon, dissipation, and other such abstractions. What's slipping away, instead, is the feeling that any of it mattered at all. Was she insane to be consumed by such lofty concerns? And is she only beginning to experience clarity today for the first time in ages? When the nurse leaves, Kanaya puts a hand over the wrist that she is so preoccupied with. Is something wrong? It just seems like all of this is happening so quickly, even abruptly. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you prefer for your consciousness to continue to disintegrate? Don't be ridiculous, Kanaya. What I would prefer is to be here with you. Really here with you. For the first time in a long time. Kanaya tips her face away from the light to hide it in the curve of her shoulder. Rose reaches out and takes her wife's hands in her own. They're colder than she remembers. Are you crying? Since when have I been known to cry? Quite often, actually, but usually because you're angry. Well, I'm not angry. It was hard on you, wasn't it? My illness, combined with all your duties to the mother grub, the pressures of the changing political situation. With all that on your mind, it can't have been pleasant to have to come home and take care of me as well. I can see now that it was all terribly unfair to you. It was nobody's fault, Rose, so please don't take any undue responsibility onto your shoulders. Since when have I been known to do such thing? Kanaya's lips twitch into a smile, and she laughs, sadly. Her laughter forces the tears out. They drip down her perfectly made face in thick trails. I really did think I had lost you. It's not that I thought you would die. It was that you felt so far away. What you were going through was something that I could not possibly understand, no matter how patient I was or how deeply I loved you. There was a feeling I couldn't shake, that something terrible was going to happen to us. Something that neither of us could stop. A powerful outside force that would take you away from me. And I couldn't stop myself from thinking that maybe it would be for the best. Kanaya, I can now see that this is completely ridiculous. Kanaya laughs again. Gaily this time. As if some terrible dark weight has been lifted from her shoulders. She lets out a thin, cheeky breath afterwards. It's like the noise fills the room back up with oxygen. Rose hadn't realized that she had held her breath at all. The shadow hanging over Kanaya's thoughts was hanging over hers as well. But now that she said it out loud, the darkness dissipates without ever materializing into its true shape. Rose uses the hem of her hospital gown to wipe the tears off Kanaya's face. It really is. Honestly, Kanaya, I've never heard such a ridiculous thing in my life. You were talking to me as if I'm a pupa again. I'm sorry. No, do not apologize. It has been a very long time since you've had the energy to use such a condescending tone of voice. And as you know, it's one of the things about you I find most adorable. I can imagine how adorable I've been drifting around the house like a sweaty, drugged-up ghost. Well, you know how I feel about the careless and bibbing of human intoxications. You were still very adorable. Not to be trite, but there is nothing that could make you not beautiful to me. What a relief, considering that we're both going to be young and magically fit literally forever. Kanaya presses a snotty, uncharacteristically imperfect kiss to the back of Rose's hand, right beneath where she wears her wedding ring. If you would have me forever. Who else? There is no one who understands me like you, Kanaya. No one who looks at me the way you do. No one who brings me back down to earth with ceaseless, brutal honesty like you. I have no idea what I'd do without you. You'd probably do just fine. Yes, but I'd be very unhappy. They smile at each other as the first rays of sunrise peek through the blinds. Chapter 5. Did you hear John left his house? Multiple days in a row, even? No fucking way, that's incredible. I've never heard of such a thing. Someone leaving their house? Stop the fucking presses. Carcat. Is it a slow news day in the consort kingdom or something? Jade finishes pruning the dead bulb off her arum lily plant and flicks it at Carcat's forehead. Then she politely pulls the blind shut. Because God forbid even a sliver of sunlight ever infect Dave and Carcat's hive. Jade doesn't live here, technically, but there's domestic evidence of her all over the hive. Her plants, her base, her clothing slung over the couch where she sleeps for weeks at times. I'm being serious, dumbass. I was really worried about him. I'm being serious too. I was actually beginning to wonder if John had died. But what the fuck were we supposed to do about it? It's not like he answers the phone. Well, if you care so much, then maybe don't respond with sarcasm when I tell you that he's getting better. Guys, it's not a competition. We were all worried about John. Were we? When's the last time either of you tried to hang out with him? When's the last time either of us left a hive? Yeah, shut-ins living in glass hive shouldn't throw a... Actually, if we lived in glass hive, way too much light would come in for Carcat's brittle photosynthesis issues. So we'd probably cover all the walls with, like, lots of curtains and sheets of thick fabric. So I guess maybe we could throw stones. Like, kind of small ones so that the fabric could easily absorb the momentum. Also, me and Carcat would probably be too lazy to throw the stones that hard anyway. So I think, actually, this scenario is pretty workable here. It provides a certain threshold for the allowable minimum hypocrisy. Dave just sucks. No, it doesn't. I'm giving thoughtful and critical consideration to a cliché which is long past due. A glass house with wall-to-wall curtains creates what I'm going to theorize as an incredibly important self-owning buffer. This is a huge breakthrough, and it's also fucking science. You of all people should appreciate the work being done here. Oh my god. I never thought I'd be thinking of you as my weird nerd friend by the time that we were in our 20s. Yeah, well, I never thought you'd be like the premier woo girl on the planet. What are you even doing here with us? Don't you usually spend your weekends at 48-hour interspecies raves or doing Arctic expeditions with Jake or whatever? Those two things aren't always mutually exclusive. Ugh. Jade floats over to the couch, shooting her two besties a delicious smile. She taps Carcat on the nose as she passes by. I'm just enjoying my youth. You could be enjoying it too. She retrieves one of her bras from where it's hanging over the back of the couch. She starts changing it right there, doing that mystical sleight of hand girls seem to be born with the knowledge of where the bra goes off and then on again without the shirt being removed. Jade doesn't exactly have the best understanding of interpersonal boundaries, having been raised mostly by a dog, but still. It's a weird, intimate, and uncomfortably close to sexual thing to be doing in front of other people. Dave and Carcat share a vaguely mortified look. Jade sort of lives there, but she doesn't that sort of live here. But seriously, what do you two even do holed up in here together at all times? Carcat snorts, still poignantly not looking at her. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you not seen Dave's ill-begotten art empire? He's got his opposable digits stuck in so many double-stacked husk cloves that even I don't know all of his pen names. Okay, so that's what Dave does. What do you do? Jade puts her feet on the floor and pads over so she can sling her arms over the back of the couch and lay her cheek on the cushion. The look she gives Karkat is just shy of devious. Karkat defensively scuttles to the other end of the couch, where he ends up pressed flush against Dave's entire left side. I, sit around and play video games all day. Hey, that's not the only thing I do. I've done laundry once or twice. Also, what humans refer to as groceries. I do the groceries. That's not a fucking figure of speech, man. You don't do the groceries. You go out and buy them. And even then, you don't actually do that. Like, fuck off. Dave pits both hands over Karkat's mouth and does a stage whisper over his shoulder. He means he uses the alchemizer in the basement sometimes. Whose side are you on? Oh, and when he's in a bad mood, he'll go yell at trolls on the internet. Not like trolls as in the troll species, I mean literal trolls who talk shit online. I don't know, a bunch of them could be actual trolls, I guess, but not strictly. Dave! Don't fucking tell her about that! Dave reaches around Karkat's face to give him a gentle poke in the cheek. He keeps his finger there longer than strictly necessary, smiling the noticeably restrained smile characteristic of Striders. The expression is so warm and blatant that it can't help but draw Jade's attention. She frowns and pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose, making some quick calculations in her head. They're so obvious, she thinks, and yet here they are. Virginal losers who are performative about sitting exactly a foot apart whenever they're in public. It's so pathetic it makes her want to howl at the moon in sorrow. What she's planning isn't a seduction. It's a public service. Why not, dude? I think it's cute. He's on all the major political sites, of course, but he spends most of his time going after people who leave abusive comments on my sweet bro and hella Jeff post. Like, he's got a whole complex network of burner accounts and sock puppets on my homepage set up for every possible scenario. Jesus Christ. It's incredible he's driven at least 10 people off the site by creating thinly veiled parody accounts of their usernames. Stop talking about this! My exploits are heroic. Go absolutely fuck yourself. Karkat, shush. I'm proud of you. Couldn't have done better myself. Well, I mean, I definitely could have, but I have better things to do with my time. Thank you, Dave. That was heartwarming and not even a little bit embarrassing, consider my honor undeniably defended. Actually, Karkat, it's more like you're the one defending his honor. That's so cute! A knight white knighting for another knight. Dave, it's like Karkat's your adorable little house husband. What the fuck is a husband? Jade just made this entire thing awkward. Dave unpokes his finger from Karkat's cheek and tries to shimmy some space between them on the couch, but there's nowhere to go. Karkat is sandwiched between him and Jade, who is reaching out to put 2 fingers of her own in the center of his chest. She bounces them there a few times, enjoying the way troll skin is just a bit thicker than human skin, taut like the membrane over a poorly maintained drum. A husband? She begins walking her fingers up the length of Karkat's sternum. Karkat knows damn well what a husband is. He's been force-fed enough bad movies from Dave to pick up on any human euphemism you can name. He still plays dumb sometimes for comedic effect, to irritate his friends, or simply to avoid topic of conversation altogether. If he'd known it would only fan the flames of discussion in this case, he would have kept his mouth shut. A husband is a little like what you both do already, only with certain benefits. Jade, please, leave them alone. Her fingers reach the hollow of Karkat's throat just in time to catch him swallow. He starts to sweat. What kind of benefits? Don't play dumb, Karkat. Jade, dude, come on, leave him alone. Jade does not come on. She glides her fingers up under Karkat's chin so that they can rest on his lips, which are a little chapped. It doesn't take much work to pop them open and slide both fingers in. Jade Hardley, I swear to God! If you're really that clueless, I can show you. Karkat looks like an animal with its leg caught in a trap, eyes flickering, breath getting shallow. His bottom lip is trembling where Jade is stroking it with her thumb. It would be pretty easy to mistake his reaction for arousal, so it's understandable that Jade is extremely surprised when Karkat snaps his jaw shut and chops down on her hand. Ow! I mean, you were pushing his buttons, Jade. It's kind of what you deserve. She flies back, literally, spiraling up towards the ceiling so fast that her skirt puffs up and she gets tangled in her clothes for a few seconds. She catches her wounded hand and glares daggers at Karkat, ears flat under her long dark hair. Karkat, what the hell? What the hell? You're seriously asking me? What the hell? Jade, you were trying to choke me to death with your weird soft human fingers. What were you trying to do? Reach into my chest and pull out my fucking pump biscuit for a Monday snack? Is this because you were... Is this because you're half bark beast now? No! I was flirting, you dummy. Oh my god, you two really are helpless. Why do I even waste my time? That's a good fucking question. Jade is pissed, but not enough to leave, and so she plops down on the opposite end of the couch and petulantly crosses her arms. Karkat peels himself off Dave and slumps into the dip between cushions while settling even more deeply into one of his better practiced pouts. Dave clears his throat. So, apropos of nothing, a cool segue into a completely different topic for no reason. Jade and Karkat both stare at him. He makes a casual motion with his hand, a smooth wrist swivel, like he's at a turntable scratching one song into the next. That's the effect he's going for, at least. Did you guys hear that Jane is going to run for high office? No fucking way. Oh wow. You mean, yep, the fucking presidency of Earthsea. I mean, she's been positioning her megacorp in stocks in the way that looked super suspicious the last year or so, so I wondered about it. But I didn't think she'd actually do it. Nah, she was totally gonna pull the trigger on it after all these years, but decided against it the last minute for some reason. Thank fucking god, that would have been a complete disaster. I know, right? That's what I said when Roxy told me, especially for the economy. Really? The economy? That's what you think is bad about it? Oh yeah, and the troll thing is bad too, I guess. Okay, so let me get this straight. Your priorities are, number one, the economy, which let me remind you is built entirely on infinite fake money that we can make as much of as we want. Number two, the potential genocide of my people. Wow, okay, let's like slow our roll here. Let's slow any roll that makes me seem more xenophobic than I am, okay? Whatever you say, Dave, not xenophobic Strider. That's good. Let's keep using the phrase not xenophobic in sentences that contain my name. Sure, man, that doesn't sound like something a xenophobe shithead would say at all. Look, I'm not the bad guy here. Jane is. Or was. Until she decided not to run for president. Let's all just thank whatever Christ is responsible for making whatever decision resulted in her deciding not to do that. What? Don't change the subject, xenophobe. No, look. I'll be the first to say that Jane is xenophobic as fuck. I'm not. Like, at all. But she is. Okay, dude. But I don't think she'd go as far as to commit genocide. That's really exaggerating her faults. Like, we'd have to get pretty far away from the people we were when we started all of this for that to be a viable outcome. Well, I hope she gets a better hobby. There are a lot less ominous things she could do with her time. What, like fucking her way through half the population of Earthsea? Jade pinches his ear and twists hard, smiling pleasantly. Get fucked, Karkat. We're gonna leave it there! Yeah, we're gonna leave it there for now. We got through, I guess technically 2.5 chapters, pages, whatever you want to call it, because the first one was really short. Rose got better, had a heart-to-heart with Kanaya. Dirk decided that he was going to go through an existential crisis and make Jane, yes, Jane, and make Jane quit everything and block Jake. There was too many J.A. names in fucking Homestuck. and Jade made things uncomfortable. But that is it for today's story. So if you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already to join our wonderful galaxy. Comment down below and I'll get back to you in some way or another. And I'll see you for our next adventure. Remember, we're all made of the same cosmic dust, so be nice. Kate, love you. Bye!